I'm Christina Howard, outside of Runnymede Public School. It's one of hundreds of schools across the city in a state of disrepair. Now, this school in particular has a list of 50 needed repairs, ranging in issues from roofing problems to plumbing problems to even structural issues. 5 of those repairs are marked as urgent, but many of them won't be dealt with this year or even next. That's because, according to data obtained through the Ministry of Education, Runnymede requires about $9.5 million in repairs.
Which is concerning, and this is just one school across Toronto and across Ontario.
There's a backlog of nearly $16 billion to repair schools all across Ontario. 1/4 of that is needed here in Toronto to fix everything from roofs to plumbing, and most of those facilities are in the TDSB.
If it was only $1 billion, I'd actually be super happy, I have to be honest, but it's actually closer to $4 billion. We need stable funding from the government that increases with inflation so that we can consistently make repairs. What we do mostly now is stopgap measures and Band-Aid solutions as components break, as our schools age even further.
It can manifest in very visible ways, so whether that's classroom temperatures. I know this past fall was boiling hot, so many classrooms across Toronto would have been in excess of 30 degrees. It can also manifest in invisible disrepair, mold that we don't know about, fire suppression and alarm systems that could fail in the case of an actual fire if not kept in a state of good repair.
The issue? Money. For well over a decade, schools were sharing a very small repair budget, only about $150 million across Ontario.
Well, quite frankly, we're cleaning up a mess that we inherited. The former Liberal administration totally ignored school repairs.
The Liberals increased funding to almost $1.5 billion just 3 years ago, something the Conservatives say they'll continue.
We invested this past school year $1.4 billion in repairs, and we're committed to another $1.4 billion in repairs. And the fact of the matter is, over 10 years, we're investing over the next 10 years, we're investing $13 billion in repairs as well as capital.
But that falls far short of making a dent in the growing list of needed fixes.
To really take care of this backlog, which now sits across the province at $15.9 billion of disrepair, we would need from the province an additional $1.6 billion per year, likely for the next 7 years.
Fixing all the issues at Runnymede would cost about 45% of a new similar school, and that school is in relatively good condition. Fixing all the problems at Deer Park, for example, would cost about 140% of the cost of a new school. It would seem that rebuilding would be cheaper, but that requires capital funding.
There are situations where we do get capital funds to rebuild. That's few and far between. And also, even though some of the schools could possibly be replaced, many people in neighborhoods have attachments to those schools. It's a lot more than just a money question in many cases.
Head to citynews.ca for links that'll help you track where your child's school stands. Outside of Jarvis Collegiate, Christina Howard, City News.